Hey gang, it's Bryan from FXBilliards. Today we're going to talk about the basics of playing position in pool. What this means is if you're a beginner player, this is going to be your spot. This is going to be where you're going to learn the simple truth about how to play position in this game. If you're a more advanced player, if you're a high intermediate player, you still may get some things out of this, but this is going to be focused primarily to the beginner player and the low intermediate player. So for these examples, you are only going to need a couple different shots. Because this video is geared towards the beginner and low intermediate player, you're only going to need to have 2 shots in your game in order to take something away from this video that you can use in everyday play and improve your game. That will be a stop shot and that will be a follow shot. And you will also need to have a basic fundamental idea of how to make a bridge and a basic understanding of stance and stroke. Your stance and your stroke don't have to be perfect. Your bridge does not have to be perfect for you to get a lot out of this video. You can polish those things up later on. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about how to identify patterns, how to play position from a basic level, and then you will have the building blocks that will allow you to be able to run racks. The examples I give you today are going to all revolve around 8-ball. If you are a 9-ball player, many of these same fundamentals apply, but you of course have to shoot the balls in rotation. Most amateur 8-ball players I've found are out of position just about anywhere between 20 and 60% of the time while they're in an 8-ball rack. But what happens is they have so many choices that they play this 6 with the intention of getting on the 5, and when they don't get there, they still have a shot at the 3. That's what we mean by 8-ball bails you out and 8-ball gives you passes and things like that. One of the concepts that you're going to learn here in this video, which is going to help you with just about everything else you do as far as position play, is the idea of connected balls. What does that mean to have 2 balls that are connected? It means that if I shoot this 6-ball in with a stop shot, I don't need to do a lot from that 6 to have a shot on the 5, to have a shot on the 3. Those balls are connected. If I had a situation where the 3 was here and I shot the 6 here, the 6 and the 3 are not connected. I have to do something pretty good to get from the 6 to the 3 ball. But the 5 and the 3 are connected because you see that I can shoot a stop shot or just roll forward just a little bit and I'm going to be on the 3 ball. There are some balls that do not look like they're connected, but they may be. For example, if I shoot the 3 ball and my 8 ball is here, these balls are actually connected because without putting any kind of spin on the ball, just making the 3 ball, all I have to do is make it. You see that I'm going to be on the 8. Now, as a relative beginner or low intermediate player, you probably have a difficult time recognizing where the cue ball is going to go. But by the end of this video and by doing a few simple drills, you will find a basic understanding of where balls are going to go, when balls are connected, and when you need to not do anything special in order to run out. So let's look at a simple pattern where the balls are connected. We can see that a stop shot on the 2 ball connects me to the 3. So we would shoot these balls in this order. Stop shot there, a stop shot here puts me on the 6, but, and here's a very important lesson, you are not going to be playing pool well if you are only looking for the next shot. If you're getting position on the next shot, yes, as a beginner player, that's the most you can hope for, is to make a ball and then get yourself in position for another ball. But as you'll learn through this video, we are always looking at least, everybody says we're looking 3 balls ahead. Sometimes we're looking the entire rack. I could tell you where every ball in the rack is going to go. But in this case, in this video, on this level, we're going to be 3 balls ahead, which means that we make the 2 ball, but we don't make the 2 ball in the side to get on the 3. We make the 2 ball in the side to get on a 3 in a way that we'll be able to get on the 6. Now, it gets a little advanced, and I don't expect all of you to pull this off at the beginning, but I do expect you to have an understanding of what it means to be 3 balls ahead. We don't need to just have the 3 in a makeable spot. If I put the cue ball here after making the 2, yes, I can make the 3, but now getting on the 6 because of the angle I have is going to be a little bit difficult. So that's what we mean when we talk about being 3 balls ahead, and those are the reasons why, the main reason why we have 3 and 4 balls on the table while you're learning to play position. So here's a basic pattern where many beginner players might break down. Do you see the pattern? Do we shoot the 1 ball first? Do we shoot the 5 first? The 5 will go on the side. Do we shoot the 3 first? Well, let's look at connected balls. The 3 is connected to the 5 because I can make the 3 and not be very good at pool and still be able to make the 5. Guess what? The 5 is connected to the 1. So if we shoot in that order, we play the 3 ball, just a slightly rolling ball. We don't need to do a lot here. And now we shoot the 5. 5's connected to the 1. Guess what the 1's connected to? The 8. Remember, we are always, we're just going to bounce off the rail a little bit. We're always thinking not 2 balls ahead, but 3 balls ahead. The 1 is connected to the 8 because if we shoot a stop shot here, we have a shot at the 8. Now notice that I didn't get myself straight in on the 8 for a couple reasons. First off, this angle might be a little great for some of you, but having an angle on those shots is going to do you a lot better than if you put both balls on the rail. You're just not going to be able to make that ball consistently, especially if you need to get somewhere else on the table. You also don't want to put yourself in a position where you're sending your cue ball up against the rail when you're going to have to shoot your money ball or any other ball for that matter. So we're stepping it up a little bit here. You have the 5, the 4, and the 2. I cannot begin to tell you how many low, intermediate, and beginner players are going to shoot that 4 ball because it's right there in front of the pocket, or the 2 ball because it's practically in the pocket, and pass on this 5 ball because it's a slight cut. If you shoot anything other than the 5 ball here first, you better be a really good player because the 2 is not connected to anything. If I play the 2 ball, my cue ball actually rolls over here and does not put me on the 4, which is a little bit past the side pocket. If I shoot the 4, what am I going to shoot next? My cue ball is going to be down there. I won't have a shot on the 5. I'll be playing the 2. Most amateur players have a difficult time getting from that 2 to this 5, believe it or not. When I say getting to it, I mean where it's makeable. And even if you could, look at where our 8 ball is. So if we do anything other than shooting the 5 ball first, we are doing the wrong thing here. Plus, we have a relatively easy shot on the 5 ball. And once we make it, everything else is sitting in the pocket. This 2 ball is what we call a key ball. The key ball is the ball that we shoot right before the 8. So when you hear us talk about the key ball, we're talking about the shot we're going to shoot right before our money ball. So in 9 ball, it will be the 7 or 8, whatever is still on the table before you get to the 9. With 8 ball, it's going to be a ball that is connected preferably to the 8 ball, but it's going to be the ball that we shoot right before the 8. So this 2 is a really good key ball. Actually, the 4 is also. If you're a beginner, you probably don't think of this 4 as being connected to the 8. But where the 8 ball is located, you can get there from a lot of things. So we roll in this ball, and notice I bounced off of the rail. I didn't let myself get perfectly straight here. Now I'm just going to make the 4 ball, just roll it in. I don't need to go very far. I just need to touch it. It's going to go in the pocket. If you touch that and it doesn't go in the pocket, you've got the most delicate touch ever. And this 2 ball, if I shot it straight on, I risk scratching. So there's a lesson within the lesson here. At the edge of the pocket, there's a gap between the ball and the edge of the pocket. There's a gap on this side. If I roll in my cue ball into the gap, I can't scratch, believe it or not. So if I just roll my cue ball to hit the edge of the pocket and the 2 at the same time, I'm going to stay on that 8 ball. I got a little closer than I wanted because I hit it a little harder than I wanted to. But yes, this is a makeable shot. We just shoot that in. We don't want to get as close as I did to that 8 ball, but you get the point. Here, everybody's shooting the 1, right? Of course. The 1 is connected to the 5 is connected to the 2, and if you do what I said earlier and leave yourself an angle on the 2, then you will bounce out and you'll be perfect on the 8. So let's see how this plays out. We're shooting a follow shot here. Don't be afraid to go all the way to the rail. If you have any kind of an angle at all on that 1 ball, you're not going to scratch. We're going to shoot a stop shot here, believe it or not. If we follow this, what happens? We get so close to this 2 ball as far as our line goes that it becomes difficult to get on the 8. So we'll follow it just a little bit. Shot would look like this. Just a little bit of follow, and now we're going to hit the ball and the cushion. If you haven't seen our videos on how to make rail shots, this is how you do it. You aim for the ball and the cushion. You're just going to bounce out for that 8 ball. We bounce out, we are straight in on the 8. So here's a concept that is extremely important to understand. When we talk about being on the right side of the ball, this is a great example. We're going to go 4, 6, then the 2, and then the 2 we use that same technique that we used to get on the 8 before by leaving ourselves an angle. But if I shoot a stop shot on the 4 ball and I just pop it in that pocket, now, and I actually drew it back a little bit, even worse. Now, when I make the 6 in the side, this is the direction my cue ball is going. So this is what we call our shot line on the 6. If I leave my cue ball on this side of the shot line, it's going that way to have to put me on the 2. Now, as an advanced player, you don't mind. You'll come off of 3 rails and you get down there and get position on the 2. If you're an APA 3 or lower, or you're just a beginner, I don't think you want to come off of 3 rails to get on that 2 ball. So you need to make sure, regardless of your level, that if your ball is here, you do not want to shoot a stop shot that is going to put you on this side of your shot line on the 6. So being 3 balls ahead means not just being able to make the ball. Remember, we have to be able to make the ball and get on our next ball. So what would we do here? We'd shoot a little bit of follow, not stop. So now our cue ball rolls forward of our shot line. This is our shot line. Now all we need to do is roll the 6 in the side. Notice how soft I'm hitting these balls, guys. Most beginner players and intermediate players, up to, I would say, APA 5s in many cases, are hitting the ball way too hard. You don't have to hit the ball as hard as a lot of people do. There are people that say everybody hits the ball too hard, which may or may not be true. But we can make this. Remember, I didn't want to get down here on this 2 ball because it would not put me on the 8. Now I can just roll this in. Not the easiest cut if you're a beginner player, I understand. But I want you to understand the importance of the position, because making that 2 and having to bank the 8 or do something crazy with it is just not going to help you. We don't want to make a ball. We want to make all of the balls. This kind of falls into another lesson, but if you haven't noticed, there's a lot of lessons within the lesson here. But when you have a thin cut, this is an easy shot for a lot of you, for most of you. If you have a thin cut, you have to expect that your cue ball is going to be rolling faster than you anticipate. So if you think you're going to make the 2 in the side and play the 8 in this side pocket, this is what you can expect. I want you to watch just how soft I hit this. That is 1 mile an hour, gang. Look where my cue ball is. If I wanted to stop it here, I'm in a fantasy world. Now I have a not so easy cut shot, or I could play it down in the corner with a not so easy shot. So if you have this thin cut, understand, the thinner the cut is, the more your cue ball is going to roll. It's going to go faster from here than it will from here. It's going to go much faster from here than it will from here. So while you're playing all this great position, understand that if you leave yourself a cut shot, it's going to be difficult to get position on your next shot. Also, and this is a whole nother video, but again, a lesson within the lesson is you need to be careful because on thin cuts, because the cue ball is going to be rolling so much, you don't want to scratch. And if you have a thin cut, you're going to be 10 times more susceptible to scratching than if you don't have a thin cut. When you see a player slamming the balls, this is not a good player, okay? He might be the best on your team, but if he's slamming the balls, if you hear that ball hitting the back of the pocket on a regular basis, you're watching somebody who hits the ball way too hard. If he has to hit the ball hard to shoot a simple draw shot, he doesn't know how to shoot a draw shot properly. If he has to hit the ball hard to make the ball follow down table, he doesn't know what he's doing. If he has to hit it hard and it's straight in and he's 3 feet away, he has no idea what he's doing. There are no dunk shots in pool. There are times we do have to hit the ball harder, but it is a very rare occurrence. I have a situation, say, that looks like this, and I want to get better on the 3 ball. I might shoot a force follow. I may shoot something that looks like this. To get on this 3 ball. So how are you going to practice? You're going to randomly throw 3 or maybe 4 balls on the table. You're going to give yourself ball in hand and try to find a pattern. Now, I'll take these from here, okay? But you want to take ball in hand. Taking ball in hand may sound easy to you guys, but if you're in APA 3, you're an underdog running from here in this 4-ball rack with ball in hand. And if you're in APA 4, you're a dog to run out with 5 balls on the table. So don't think that it's such a handicap getting ball in hand. Plus, you need to have an understanding of what to do when you do have ball in hand. So taking ball in hand on these examples is okay because it gives you practice in having ball in hand. I see this all the time. But what is this? This is somebody trying to figure out where they want to put their ball in hand. And you know what? The majority of the time, I see them put it in the wrong place because these patterns aren't easy. They're not simple. So if you have ball in hand, make sure you put it in the right place. This would not be the right place for it. Why? Well, I've got to get on that 2 ball. So the 7 is connected to the 2, but I want to give myself a series of easier shots. So that means if I can work from one end of the table to the other, that would be good. But in the meantime, when you have your ball in hand, or you're just going from where the ball is randomly on the table, try to run them off any order, but have a plan. I want to know what the numbers look like. I want to hear you say 7, 2, 5, 3, and then you shoot them off. If you get out of line, you will audible. Those of you that watch football or play football, you know what an audible is. Either this works and I can still go with my original pattern, or I got out of line and my original pattern doesn't work and I have to do something different. Or and this is the one that a lot of people miss, something better came up. Sometimes a better pattern materializes even though I'm in position for my 2 and I can get on my 5. Maybe the 3 makes more sense right now for some reason. So let's say it did, because I can make the 2 and get on the 5. We know that. But let's say the 3 became my next shot, which, by the way, this is not the right pattern, but we're using it for illustration purposes. Let's say that was my next shot. This is okay. I got on the correct side of the 5, so when I make the 5, I'm going to roll down and I will be on the 2 ball. If you have to audible, it's okay. Best players in the world are doing it all the time. As you get better, you'll add more balls. Then you'll throw a couple stripes out while you're doing your solids. Then you'll start shooting them in rotation. I play a lot of 8-ball. I love 8-ball. It's my second favorite game. Straight pool, then 8-ball, and then 9-ball and 10-ball, which I put in kind of the same category. But when I practice shooting balls in rotation. That's how I practice. Before you get there, you've got to be able to do what we've been doing today. And then you'll start shooting 3 balls in rotation, 4, 5, 6, but throw 4 balls on the table. Try to figure out where everything is going to go. If you get out of line, you take something else. If you don't have a shot, if you don't have a legitimate shot, take ball in hand, okay? Don't waste time shooting bank shots and miracle shots. You need to get in your reps playing position.
Hey gang, if you enjoy FX Billiards on YouTube, you'll love FXBTV. It's the ultimate streaming platform for exclusive videos, tips, and techniques you won't find anywhere else. Join now to lock in our special introductory rate and be part of the FX Billiards community.
Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, hit us in the comments.